We're now 1 week away from pot becoming legal in Canada. And Bill Bogart, law professor at the University of Windsor and author of Off the Street, Legalizing Drugs, joins us this morning to break down some of the misconceptions people might have. Bill, thank you for being here. And, I'm glad we're talking about this because misconceptions could turn into someone running afoul of the law, of this new law. So what are some of the biggest myths around legal weed?
Well, I think one of the biggest myths is that there's no problem using it in driving. And we have polls that suggest that, and that is a myth. We know that cannabis can impair driving. Now, there's controversy about how much, when, and there's issues around enforcement of these laws that we don't really have time to get into. But people should not take that as a sense that it's okay to use this drug and then drive.
So on the federal level, still, all over Canada, still legal, but in the United States, decidedly against the law. And Canadians who want to go across the border, they're going to encounter a new dynamic with customs agents, aren't they?
They may indeed do that, yes. As you said, although increasingly cannabis is legal in a number of states in the United States, it remains illegal at the federal level. And so that may cause enormous complications in terms of people trying to cross the border. If they're asked if they have ever used cannabis, which they may well do, they have to decide how they're going to answer that question.
And what I find really interesting, I think a lot of Canadians are surprised that they could very well be asked or denied entry. At least this is the story going around. They could be denied entry if they've invested in pot stocks.
That is correct. That has actually happened.
That is actually happened. This is to me that's quite a surprising notion. I mean, if it's legal up here and you're simply investing your money, why would that prevent you from traveling?
You might ask Donald Trump about that. I mean, if this were a different regime, I think we might have a very different set of attitudes. It'd be, those Canadians, they're up to their usual social experiments. We should just let them do it and observe it. Maybe we could actually learn something from it. But I think the atmosphere is not that way these days.
Now, some Canadian provinces are allowing municipalities to decide whether they want to sell this stuff or not. And so if somebody lives in a town where it is not legal to buy it, what recourse do they have if they want to purchase marijuana?
Well, recall, Ben, that the Ontario government has decided that there'll be no brick-and-mortar stores until next year. But the cannabis will be sold online, and that's the case in most of the provinces. So people will be able to access it legally online, and that would remain the case for anybody in these municipalities that are threatening not to have any brick-and-mortar stores.
So I think the rule of thumb would be bone up on the law before you smoke up. Thank you very much, my friend. We appreciate for you being here.
Thanks for the opportunity.